On to our next segment, um, which is into digital marketing, a very sought after career, has been in talks very recently, and I'm just putting spotlight to my next speaker, which is Mr. Nitin. Hi, Nitin.
Hey, Kriti. To
How are
see you.
you?
I'm doing
Yes,
very well. Thank you for
good
inviting
to
me on
see
this.
you after what, 15 years?
Yeah, I guess 15 years. Yes, you're right.
Yes, so wonderful. So thanks a lot for joining us today, Nitin, and it's a complete pleasure to have you here and talk to young minds um, about careers in digital marketing. If I were to just give a small introduction about Nitin, he's currently leading e-commerce vertical at Facebook India, having worked across sales and consulting functions with large global technologies for over 16 years. He's an engineer and an MBA by education, and he continues to push himself to improve as a runner and as an athlete. So glad to have you, Nitin. Um, and I'm sure when we talk about digital marketing, uh, Facebook uh, is the biggest name that comes to minds of students, and who better than you who could have talked about this kind. So my first question to you, Nitin, is what is digital marketing? This is a very new concept. Wasn't there when you and me were graduating out of our MBA colleges?
No, absolutely. So this was absolutely not by design. But I think it'll continue to be like this in years to come too, where new technology will keep emerging and we'll probably gravitate towards areas of interest or whatever is in vogue in that decade. So, simply put, digital marketing is helping brands connect with consumers in an internet ecosystem. Basically, that's in very simple layman language what digital marketing is. Uh, it's a newer concept. You're right. Uh, See, internet is basically 25 years old. If somebody really goes back, Amazon.com, 1995, eBay, 1995. So it's not a very old concept, and they started by selling books. Think of internet as this little baby who's now maturing, and a lot of industries are now kind of build getting. This is the core infrastructure of the world where a lot of businesses will now pivot to use internet as their foundational element. It's very similar to what probably happened in 1700s, 1800s when the industrial revolution was at its peak. There were heavy machineries being developed. Automation was in play. A lot of things happened: automobiles, aeroplanes, so many things developed. Think of internet in that light. That the next 100 years are going to be glorious for internet. So, so that's the whole internet ecosystem, and a very small part of that ecosystem is to connect consumers with the brands, and I think that's what digital marketing aims to do.
Super. So when we talk about digital marketing, we understand there are two words, digital and then there is marketing. And we had a guest speaker yesterday talking about marketing as well. Um, what are the kind of skills that you think will be required for students to excel in this kind?
So let me first also tell you this that digital marketing is a sub function of marketing. Okay, so the fundamentals remain the same. You'll have to know your consumer. You will have to design your go to market so that the consumer can be acquired or being asked to whatever action you want the consumer to do for your product or service. So digital marketing is just a function within the marketing gamut. So if you are interested in this area, uh, you should definitely have uh, an interest in marketing as a whole. So that's the starting point. Digital marketing seems to have become far more prominent right now because more and more consumers are moving to internet and are available to be influenced by internet. So maybe just for the benefit of students, if they want to just understand a macro view, there are about 1.4 billion people in this country, right? So, and nearly 800 million of those carry a smartphone, which has internet. And out of that 800 million, close to about 3 to 400 million watch or do some form of transaction online, which is either they could be on an OTT player like Netflix or some other OTT player, or could be doing a banking transaction, or could actually be shopping, like on commerce. So this population is uh, the funnel is moving very in a fast manner, and more Indians are joining the digital economy. So what brands are doing today, they are trying to acquire these consumers who are no longer maybe shopping in malls and shopping in Kirana stores, but they are available to buy Maggie on Grofers.in, or maybe something on Big Basket or Amazon or Myntra or Nykaa. So when there's a fundamental shift, and obviously a lot of this has been uh, due to the pandemic, where everything was quarantined except for the internet. So when folks started to move towards that, I think there was a need for brands to find their consumers now in online space. So they reduce their advertising on television, they reduce their advertising on print. You don't see hoardings on the road anymore because we hardly step out of the our homes to see what's put there. So they're now putting these hoardings on internet, and the main channels there would be Google, Facebook. There are different publishers. They also send multiple emails to different consumers. So all this is part of consumer marketing under the digital ambit. Skills, I think, as I said, you need to have a flair for marketing. Second, you should be interested in working with tons of data. You know, digital marketing creates gigabytes of data every month. And you should have an eye where you want to slice and dice data every day to find patterns and cohorts. Like I showed the ad to Kriti, but Kriti didn't open it for 3 days. But when I showed an ad of footwear to Kriti, Kriti opened the ad in 1 hour. How can I make Kriti a consumer so that next time I show an ad, Kriti immediately buys? This is all data science.
Correct.
There is no gut in it. So, like a typical marketer, they would say that they don't know what 50% of how it works. In digital marketing, everything's apparent. You just can't hide the facts because everything's data led. So, the fundamental building block of being successful at digital marketing is to be good with data. I think that's my starting answer to this.
That's so interesting. So, would you also go ahead to say that this was coming up from a question that some of the students had asked yesterday, that how far mathematics as a subject in school will be important to excel in this career?
Not really. I know many marketeers and many digital marketeers who have no background in sciences or mathematics. Uh, they are fairly smart, very creative. I just want to tell students there on this forum. Uh, I work at Facebook, and I know in our Menlo Park office, which is our headquarters in San Francisco, uh, a lot of our product leaders are not science students. They are philosophy or design students, creative. So it's actually a myth that you need to be really good at math. I think you need to be creative at digital marketing. You should be logical. I mean, you should be able to understand if a problem is thrown at you, and you should have a logical way of analyzing a problem. But you don't need calculus, you don't need a lot of those things, at least in the business side, unless tomorrow your core interest lies in designing digital marketing models, which is like a very sought after job. It's a hardcore techie job. You do modeling, you build data models on gigabytes and terabytes of data every day. You build hypothesis, this model works. That's a core techie job. For that, you definitely need a background in mathematics and all. Well, on the business side of it, if you are a business person who is interested in selling of goods and services using internet, and you want to be in digital marketing, creative, you like designing ads, you like advertisement, then you don't need mathematics.
I think that brings in a lot of clarity. Thanks for answering that. So, what is the kind of education roadmap that you suggest for students who are probably aspiring to get into digital marketing? What kind of education they should be getting into?
Yeah, I have a little funny take on this because I definitely believe that it's good to meander a little bit in your life and then find out the place where you want to be. Uh, Career is not a linear journey. I know if I'm giving you a little, throwing you on a little tangent, but I definitely believe that career is not a linear journey. Life is not linear. We all should meander a little bit to understand what we like and what we don't like. Uh, all careers, unless they are very specific technical careers, which I'm sure you would have somebody would have spoken about it, then you have to really put your digital marketing is not one of those careers where you need to foundationally start in that and over the next 30 years to do that. It's not the way that I would recommend anybody. Uh, there's a lot of fun in this career. Uh, you need to get into a space where there is business to consumer dealings. Okay. It could be you can start being by being a sales manager. Like a lot of people I know in Facebook actually come from marketing background or sales background. So they started their careers with Unilevers or Nestle's of the world. A lot of people started their careers in advertisement companies like uh, there are multiple creative as well as Group M, and there's so many others. And then they slowly start picking up areas where they really want to work with. Somebody says, in digital is my key, then they start moving towards that. Fundamentally, I think any education which has enough creative and a mix of creative and logic, I think that career course can lead you into that direction. Because when you do join an organization with whatever, typically I've seen most general management students end up getting into marketing. So let's say you end up doing uh, either a course in advertisement or a course in MBA, and your first job, there's bound to be a department which is called digital marketing or marketing department. Uh, and if you do get into that, you will slowly learn the ropes along the way, and over 4 5 years, you will start mastering that. So there's no specific education that leads you to that, but there are enough courses that people do. I know for a fact there's Google certifications people do, there are Facebook certifications. A lot of younger kids do, and it's actually a very young profession. In fact, most of my peers are very, very young. It's astonishing. Kids born in 90s are actually doing extremely well. So so no specific education I will recommend. Just enjoy whatever course you're taking, and then see if digital marketing is an area that really interests you, and you can easily gravitate towards it in any large consumer facing organization.
Oh, that's really insightful. Um, my next question is, Nitin, what are the industry trends that you see in this career, especially because we're talking about students, who are in school right now, will take time to get into the industry. So we are preparing them for from maybe a decade from now. So what are the kind of trends that you see in this career, and where is the industry taking it from here?
Uh, I'm not an oracle, so I can't predict. This is a very hard prediction. I can guarantee you that what I say today probably is going to change 2 years down the line. Things are changing so rapidly, Kriti, that and this generation is far more exposed to things than we were when we growing up, because technology still took about 7 8 years to change when we passed out of MBA. Right now it's just 2 years max. But your question is very interesting, so I'll attempt. Let's see if I can do justice to this. But I would say that the generation that's going to come out, and be part of the workforce is going to be the luckiest generation of all times. One, the jobs are going to be plenty. Internet has democratized careers and aspirations. You don't need to be an IIT, IM, Harvard. You don't need to come from a family with means. All you need is an idea, and that idea can be built on internet today. Whether it's in consumer marketing, whether it's in finance, whether it's in durables, anything that comes to, whether it's gaming, the world is out there. You have everything to play for now. So if anybody tells you that focus on this, they're actually doing you injustice, because the canvas is so broad. The canvas is massive. So don't limit yourself to saying, this is what I want to do in life. As I said, meander a little bit, because you may strike gold by going on to an unconventional path, because the world has changed and it's changing far more rapidly than we are seeing even right now. Uh, so keep updated on the trends that are happening. Any area of interest, because we're building the world again. It's again those 17th century when people started building cars for the first time, planes for the first time. Everything else is being built from the scratch again. People are building Teslas, people are building spaceships to go to Mars. So, these careers, I can't even think of saying, can I work for Jeff Bezos to go to Mars project? Can I be part of a electric car project? No, because these are things that the younger generation is going to gain benefit from. So there's a lot happening out there. So any field of choice, whether it's medicine, whether it's commerce, whether it's sciences, whether it's arts, humanities, everything is coming first on internet. It's going to be available to everybody. You'll have to find where you think there's a need in the market, where there's enough demand and supply, and you want to pick that either as an industry to work for or your own idea to incubate and grow from there. So that's my prediction. Don't stop yourself from not thinking beyond. So just expand, think beyond, and go beyond. I think that's my suggestion to everybody in this room.
That's so so correct, Nitin. And I've always been telling students that technology is changing at an unprecedented rate, and just how this pandemic has, in some way, uh, changed the way we look at so many things. Earlier, work from home, education from school, studying from a tutor who's not in your city, were concepts which were unthinkable for students. And just last 1 year has told us that so many things which we thought was not possible is now just something which is a part of our daily life. So you're absolutely correct. This generation will need to keep experimenting, keep upgrading, and I think one skill which students from this generation, which will be very important for them, will be to continuously keep upgrading themselves, because there'll be so much to learn in a matter of few years, because technology will change, the world will change, the things how we they used to see previously will change, and hence that upgradation and continuous learning is something that is going to be very important for them as a skill. Everything apart, they will be able to take care of.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, the only thing that has helped me in my career is my curiosity. I've been very curious about things, and I've always tried to learn new things. And you're absolutely right on your last point. If I don't upgrade myself every 3 years, I won't have a job. I won't have a career after 10 years. If I continue doing the same stuff, I will become redundant in the workforce. So be curious. That's all. If you have curiosity in you, you will do wonders to your life and your career.
So take it from here, students. This is the head of Facebook e-commerce telling you that if he doesn't study and upgrade himself, he will be out of work. So, which just means that We cannot be thinking that we're out of school, we're out of college, we're out of our business management or any master's course, and that's where studies end. The life of work begins, and you just need to keep upgrading yourself. I think that's the key word to take up from this conversation. My last question to you before I open the question segment for the audience is, um, what will be one advice if you were to give? You've already said being curious is important, but what will be like one last advice from you to the generation which will be coming up in the workforce in the years to come?
I'm not good at advice, but I think maybe I just caught that line when I was coming in. I think Karan before me was saying the same. It is a journey. Uh, Work is and career is just maybe 20-25% of it. I strongly suggest you all the students enjoy life, be curious, make some amazing friends and relationships as you go through your school and colleges, because that's what really counts. That's what really is a source of learning and knowing more and more stuff and experimenting more stuff in life. Just knowing people opens so many things for you to learn. So just meander a little bit, be curious, make some great friends, and just have one passion. Work cannot be a passion. Career studying cannot be a passion. Develop one solid passion, saying that this is what I want to really do. So even if things don't today, for me, I feel so down if I don't go for a run in the morning. Endorphins really help to start your day. So just develop some passion, whether it's music, whether it's sports, whether it's art. Do something with your own time, and you will do this for yourself, for nobody else. That's my only advice. So just go ahead, enjoy. All of you are super hardworking, I know. Uh, but just be normal. It helps. Don't get into that race of being competing and comparing yourself, because those, it looks obvious that you have to compete and compare, and obviously in India it's tougher because there's so many of us competing for those few number of seats. But dig yourself so deep in it that you can't find your way out of that. That's my only suggestion. Life is much more fun than what it appears to be in school.
Absolutely, absolutely. So brilliant said. So few questions that are coming up in the chat box, Nitin. One is, what are the different courses that we should do in order to start digital marketing as a career?
Uh, See, the two big platforms for digital marketing are Google and Facebook. Google and Facebook, and you can pick it up any day. Even they're publicly available. Google uh, AdWords courses. There's Facebook Blueprint courses. If you just want to understand, I'm sure all of you would have seen enough ads on Instagram, on Facebook. They keep coming in your feed now. In Reels, also, we're showing a lot of ads. If you want to understand why am I seeing this, why should I be seeing this, when I click on it, what happens, that journey can easily be understood if you start just digging a little bit into Google and how Facebook and Google kind of operate. I think those are the starting points, I would say, at this stage.
Great, fantastic. The next question is that, what are there different types of digital marketing? We hear terms like SEO, SEM. How do these work, and are these different types?
See, it's all Google terminology, and every 2 years there'll be more acronyms. I have stopped tracking acronyms in my life because I can make a dictionary if I just keep trying to remember all acronyms in life. But SEO has been there for a fairly long time. It's search engine optimization, how you search for something on Google. There's an industry around that, right? So there are experts doing that for the last 10 years. There's there are enough acronyms even in the Facebook world. Uh, SEM is search engine optimization. Go into the specifics of what this acronym means. Just understand digital marketing on a broader sense. It's basically trying to get a consumer, connect a consumer and a brand, whether that consumer comes on Facebook. So there's enough tools on Facebook to make sure that when a consumer is shown an ad of a brand, he ends up buying it. And there are enough tools to promote that brand and help that brand push in a way that the consumer ends up buying it. And similarly in Google also, there are enough tools and strategies to get of every consumer at every time. So that's a broader context. Uh, and as I said in my earlier question, when the last question I answered, uh, there are courses. They are not very difficult to start with. There's enough documentation on understanding what SEO is, what SEM is, Facebook, Instagram ads. So everything is there, publicly available. You don't need to pay any money to anybody. A lot of those courses can be self-explanatory. You can just keep on digging because the cool thing is that you all have apps. The first thing you got when your parents gave you a phone was to download three apps: WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. Correct? So you are masters of all these three things. You rule this. So just go ahead and explore yourself. Why am I seeing an ad from Banana Republic but not from Mintra? Or why am I seeing a shirt from Mintra and not this? There's logic behind it. And you'll understand all that.
Uh, Uh, One more question, which is an interesting question, Nitin, is that we don't get business management specialization courses in India with digital marketing, whereas we do get courses abroad, uh,
Yeah.
specializations in digital marketing. So, what is better, taking up a generic business management marketing course versus a digital marketing specialized course abroad?
Actually, if I know now what I've heard from a few of my colleagues, that there are many colleges who have started courses on digital marketing. In fact, all colleges in India would have a digital marketing course now as part of their standard MBA. I would be surprised if they don't.
Correct.
I know, in fact, there are data management MBAs altogether now. It's called PGDMM in data management or digital analytics or analytics. Uh, there will not be any course specifically called digital marketing because it's just a subset of analytics. So look for courses, look for MBA programs which have specialization in analytics if that's an area of interest. Uh, your second part, if it's better to do in India or abroad, uh, honestly depends on you. It's obviously I don't know if people just do an MBA in digital marketing alone because it doesn't make sense. It's a very small part of your learning aspect. I think people want to understand data, how to manage data, they are generating. I was just seeing my Google Gmail has 15 GB free and I've run over that. Just think about it. 1 billion people in this country, if everybody uses Gmail and each one generates 15 GB of data, what's the amount of data being generated in this country? And this is just Gmail. Multiply this by maybe a million times is the amount of data being generated in the country. And there's pattern how to make money, how to be successful, how to set up your next venture. So data courses, find courses around data, and those are not necessarily technical courses pure play. They could be courses which tell you that how can help you innovate on an idea, saying there is an industry which right now is still not tapped, and there's so much data which showing that if I build on this idea I can build the next $1 billion venture in this idea. So whenever you're thinking of data is the area of interest to you, find a course which helps you give a data perspective.
Interesting.
That's my suggestion.
Thank you. I think that was brilliant, Nitin, and I'm sure students benefited a lot from insights shared by you. There was there were some insights which I think were new to me as well, and I already see some students commenting great. So thanks a lot for joining us today and having your Sunday evening shared with the students. And we just hope to motivate and inspire them to take correct decisions in their careers and become the thought leaders for tomorrow.
Absolute luck in life. I think I actually envy students right now. I wish I was back and I had so much exposure and so many people coming and talking to me at this. So definitely, guys, you're gonna rock, and just make sure that nobody tells you that you cannot do this. I think the world is going to be a great place, and India is going to be a great place. I can assure you. So if anybody tells you there's no future in India, even that's not true. I think India is going to be the biggest economy. So by the time you guys get into workforce, India is going to be probably the strongest economy in the world. Nobody, no country in the world has access to 1.4 billion people who will be growing in their disposable income. And there'll be so many businesses you can grow and make your money in India. That'll be just astonishing. Mark my word. Remember me if maybe 20 years down the line that somebody told you, build your career in India, you will really, really do well.
Superb. That's very, very inspiring. Thanks a lot, Nitin. Thank
All
you.
right. Have a great week, guys.
Yes.
Really good to talk to you, Kriti. Thank you for inviting
Thank
me.
you. Thank you. We'll move on to the